All right, welcome back to Series 3 of Black Tower Tales, following the miners in underneath a dwarven city who were beset by some people from the Underdark coming to attack them. I decided after the last session that I think we had three uh, level 0 characters that had survived this initial series of events. Oh, man. And my plan was to roll them up characters off screen and just keep going along the way. But I figured I think it'd be cooler to just do the sort of second session 0, I guess, as or along with the character, sort of figure out their classes and things like that. Now I got to be honest, I cleaned up my little setup here a little bit in the last couple weeks, and I somehow misplaced the little index card character sheets that I was using. So I had to go back and review the footage to find out like stats and things like that. And I'm going to try to do the best I can in making sure that all that lines up with where it was. But yeah, I guess let's get to it. So we've got Torben was item character number 2. I think we had 2, 5, and 8. 2 was Torben, who was a dwarf. He was a dwarf. And his descriptor was Meek Crone. And what I'm going to do here on the Universal NPC generator is try to figure out a couple more descriptors and things for Torben here. But we have his stats as 10, 15, 14. 10, 15, 14, 5, 6, 10. So he is... we're going to say he's blind in one eye. I think that's why he would be a crone. I'm not sure if that really aligns with the definition of crone, but whatever. We're going to go along with it. Blind in one eye. As sort of representative of his 6 wisdom. He's got 15 dex and 14 constitution. So I think the next thing, what class is he going to be? So we've got fighter, priest, thief, and wizard, I think are the standard classes for Shadowdark. Unfortunately, my physical copy of the Shadowdark book hasn't arrived yet, so I'm still left printing off the from the PDF. I think Dex and Con, I think that goes along really well with Thief. I think that just makes sense, right? I guess he could be a fighter, because he does have 10 strength, and he would just be more. He would have to use finesse weapons, but I think Thief is the way we're going to go with Torben here. So he's going to be a thief. He's level 1, 0 XP so far. So let's see, what weapons can he use? Club, crossbow, dagger, short bow, short sword. Now, let's see. I don't know that I have an item list or an inventory or weapon list printed off for Shadowdark. And one of the things I had thought about doing was going and trying to minimize the editing and just try to do this one shot. But I don't think I have the weapon list. So I think dagger, I know dagger is a finesse weapon. I don't think short sword is. So he's going to get I don't have the quick generation sheets up here. So I think it's actually going to be, we're just going to say he has a dagger and a short bow. And I think we'll figure out in the session 4 that we're leading into here how they get all their stuff, because they were obviously level 0 people before. And then we're going to figure out what his talents are. We have 2d6s. Or what his talent is at level 1, that is. Here we go. So he has backstab. That's easy. And then we have a 1. 1 and a 6, so that's 7. He gets +2 to strength, dexterity, or charisma. Strength, dexterity, or charisma. I think you just go with the dexterity, man. That's 17 dex. Let's go. And then I guess that's sort of it for the thief, isn't it? As far as him as a thief. So he was a Meek Crone previously, and I'm going to write that over here. And now we're going to roll on this the NPC generator as a quick way to sort of generate some touch points for his character moving forward. So he's got, we've got an NPC modifier and noun. Oh wait, is it modifier, noun, or verb and noun? No, modifier and noun. Yeah, we're not worried about his motivation right now. I think we're gonna actually re-roll his motivation at some point, but we'll do that later. So he's gonna be a indispensable duelist. Okay. I think that makes sense with being a rogue. Maybe he would use. I think he might be more likely to use a short sword then. If he's a duelist, or maybe he likes to showboat and kill people with the dagger. I like that idea. But 73, he is also a revolting sorcerer. Okay. How is he a revolting sorcerer? So I think that means to me that he has a thing. He likes trying to use magic items. Like he's I think, and this can maybe even go into his motivations moving forward. Is he's got a thing for magic items and wands and staffs and scrolls. He's magic obsessed. Let's say that. And I think that leads us to a fate chart question, where does he have some sort of magic item already? I think it's very unlikely, considering he's a level 0. He just came out of being a level 0 character, but we were at Chaos 6. I do have the right thing on the screen. We're at Chaos 6 currently. So I think it's let's just say it's very unlikely. Oh, I was reading it backwards. You know what? I think very unlikely is even too far. We're going to say nearly impossible, which is still a 25% chance. So if he has a 25, if we roll under a 25, let's say, he's going to get a magic item as part of their as part of his background that maybe he just wasn't bringing on his mining trip, because why would you do that? And he, not only that, 11, he has, I think we rolled a double, which is underneath the chaos number, and we're going to use that as a way to find out, as part of his backstory, how he attained this magic item. So it was a random event, some sort of random event whose focus was, and remember, this is how he got the magic item. The focus was 43, some sort of NPC negative, so he had to make some sort of sacrifice. Or someone related to him had to make some sort of sacrifice, because he's a PC now. And we're going to roll action and subject. What was the NPC negative event that resulted in him gaining this magic item? 60. Abuse. Oh, buddy. Oh, buddy. 8. Abuse enemies. Okay, that's not so bad. I guess if there's someone you're gonna abuse, right? Abuse enemies. So I think in his, let's say one of his relatives was abused by an enemy. Okay, so we're flipping it around a little bit. One of his relatives was abused by an enemy, but left the situation with this magic item and passed it along to Torben. So heirloom from, I'm gonna say, let's do a D6, whereas like if it's 1 through 4, then we'll do 1, 2 is father, 3, 4 is mother, 5 is like grandparents, mother and father. So it's an heirloom from his mother. All right. And there we go. That sort of gives us a nice little outline of Torben's backstory. The dwarven thief. All right, cool. So next is going to be Brolga, the half-orc, female half-orc. She was a subtle inquisitor initially. So that leads me towards leaning towards wizard and thief. But her stats look like this. She's got 11 strength, 8 dex, maybe not with the thief thing, 13 constitution, all right, 8 intelligence, 11 wisdom, 14 charisma. So I'm not sure that, I mean, her highest stat is charisma, then second highest is constitution. Past that, it's strength, so we might just go with fighter as sort of a stock standard. Fighters need health, right? Oh wait, oh, dwarves have stuff too. Ah, I can get that. Dwarves get like +2 constitution, I think. +2 health. Shucks. I missed that here on the thief. So he gets 1d4 health. I think he gets it's not plus con, so we're not going to do that. 1d4, but dwarves get +2, so he starts with 3 hit points. Okay, there we go. Oh, jeez. And then for Brolga, she can sort of do anything. I think int and dex probably not being a thief or a wizard. So priest or fighter. I don't know. Let's just roll. High is fighter. Low, so she's a priest. And she is a half orc. Inquisitor, I think, also works for priest, now that I think about it. It almost works better for priest. But let us get this out. As far as the priests, she can use all armor and shields, and yeah, I'll have to figure out their armor on the way. As a half orc, she gets like +1 to roll, +1 to damage and rolls. And her talents, as far as priests go, are going to be, she got a 2 and a 2. 4 for priest. That means she gets a +1 to melee or ranged attacks. Yeah, so she gets +2 to attacks. She's sort of a bruiser. +2 to attacks and +1 to damage. All right, cool. And she gets 2 tier 1 spells from the priest spell list, which I did not print out because I was only ready for someone being a wizard. Well, I'm just going to have to figure that out in the interest of keeping things moving here. So let me make... So one thing I noticed is that at least on the wizard spell list, there's 12 choices for the tier 1 spells, and I was just going to roll randomly on that. Except for Magic Missile. Magic Missile is the obvious one that you almost have to take. And then the other one, I imagine there's a healing spell for priest that just makes sense. So I'm going to do that and then come back. And she'll have her spells, and maybe it'll be fun to figure out what they are on the fly. But as far as her backstory, we're going to roll some additional information. 87 gives us a careful. She is a careful. A careful chieftain. And you know what? I think that sort of makes sense. Being like she's trying to be a leader, right? She initially I think she's number 5. So yeah, I think she was one of the ones who was not a higher up in the leadership of the mining expedition. But I think it's fair to say that she's inclined to leading. She just hadn't gotten to the higher up position yet. So she's level 1, D6 hit points, and no, she doesn't get any extras, so she has 3 as well. And alignment. Torben, lawful or neutral? High lawful for Torben, so he's neutral. High lawful for... Actually, Broga's going to be lawful. And I rolled it anyways. Lawful, and Torben's going to be neutral. And I think that... Oh, wait, no, we have one more background to roll for Brolga here. Starting with 78. Pushy. She is also a pushy... orator. I love this. Like, it's so funny to me when, like, things align with either the fate chart or rolling these things, because pushy orator also goes with her being a high charisma and being a careful chieftain. So I think, yeah, she's sort of just a boss bitch, I guess. So she's like just gonna try to take the lead and be like, this is the way this is gonna go. And and it all works with the Inquisitor too. Hell yeah, I think that's awesome. Cool. And now finally we have Gendry, the dwarf male. His stats. Oh, he's a conformist thug, by the way. So he's like more of a bruiser, and he's more of a follower. Same thing with Torben. I think this group actually sort of seems like it works fairly well with each other, because you've got a meek person and a conformist following this charismatic priest type Inquisitor person. Gendry's a dwarf as well. His stats are 12, 13, 7, 11, 14, 16. So he's got some pretty good charisma. He's also, his best stat outside of charisma is wisdom. So he might be another priest, but he's also got dex and strength. I'm thinking we don't have... I think priest makes the most sense. I think we just go in order. I think we've got priest for 14, dex, thief for 13, strength 12 for in third place. So let's do this weighted, right? So we're going to say 50% chance wisdom, 50% chance priest, because that's just the highest. 50% chance priest. Let's say 25% chance. 30% thief. 20%. No. 15% fighter. That's what? That's 95 right there. And then 5% wizard. Okay? So that means 50%, then 80, 50 to 80, and then 95, and then up to 100 is wizard. And we're going to roll on percentile dice. I'm not sure. So 0 to 50 is priest, 51 to 80 is thief, 81 to 95 is fighter, and above that is wizard. So if we roll a wizard, this is going to be something else. 29, priest. Okay, cool. Level 1, 0 XP. We're going to be rolling more health for him. 3, so that's 5 total hit points. And actually, they also have the chance of knowing these additional languages. So, Brolga, 2 to 6. Brolga knows Diabolic. And then Gendry also knows Diabolic. So I like the idea that Gendry is sort of the apprentice, for lack of a better term. I don't know. He's just... It's not an apprentice when you're in the priesthood. It's something else. But it's something like where Gendry's trying to learn from Brolga and work on becoming more divine like her, for instance. Even though they're both level 1. We're going to roll to see what Gendry's talents are. Okay. He rolled a 3, so +1 to melee and ranged attacks. Or ranged. So, Brolga gets... And this is all... Let's just say that's all melee. Brolgo's +2 and +1 are all melee. Gendry just gets +1 melee. All right. We'll figure out their armor and shields, and then also the spells in the interim, because I did not come prepared. We're going to figure out the alignment of Gendry. I think it's likely he's lawful. Let's say 5 or 6, he's going to be neutral. Okay, so he's also lawful. Now we got to figure out the final details here for Gendry. Figure out his descriptors as a character. He becomes a mindless. He's mindless. I think. Well, what's his intelligence? 11. All right. So mindless. Is that cocked? Yeah, it's cocked. He's a mindless priest. Like I said, that's so funny. And I think that's he's actually got the highest intelligence in the group. So I think the mindless here is not that he's stupid, because he's at 11 he's got the highest intelligence. It's that he's just a complete follower archetype. He'll just go along with what Brolga says, even though he's the smartest one. And honestly, at some point, because he's also got the highest charisma, he might come along and just start like subtly insinuating and maybe like trying to advise Brolga into different ways. So he's like a follower, complete follower, advisor, if needed. All right, and then as far as his final characteristic, we've got he's an unreasonable champion. So I think that means for him that he's not a very good sportsman. He's sort of like he's the kind that would cheat, and he's like a cheater in competition, and he thinks that like winning is the only thing that matters, that kind of thing. All right, I think that's a good start for these guys. I do need to figure out those spells, but yeah, that's kind of cool. We are going to figure out Torben's magic item at some point here. But yeah, I think that's all we had wanted to do for this episode. We'll see you next time.